Our next guest is BYU Basketball's all-time leading scorer, passing up his dad and then passing up Danny Ainge and then passing up Jimmer Fredette. He's also a BYUtv basketball analyst on GameDay before every home game on BYUtv. A pleasure to welcome our colleague and friend Tyler Haws to the Wise Guys. Hey, there he is. Good evening, Tyler.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So are you at home in your office and you've got like a 3 trifecta Michael Jordan behind you? Is that what's going on behind you?
I'm in my basement. So this poster behind me I got when I was probably 10 years old for Christmas, and I've kept it ever since. And so I threw it up.
Yeah, looks nice. Goes great.
So was it originally just an old school paper poster and you kind of made it art by putting it into 3 different pictures and framing it?
No, I think that must have been Marty's doing. He must have divided it up.
Hey, I tweeted out a picture of you on social media as we were promoting this interview of you dunking the basketball against Utah, and their big guy was like right next to you, and you swooped right by him and dunked it in his face. How many dunks did you get at BYU? I'm remembering, I think 3. Is that right? Were there more than that?
You're asking that like I didn't dunk very much.
Well,
I think I had a few my senior year. I mean, it's probably less than 10. It's probably 5 or 6.
Do we need to
remind Dave that whether you dunk it or you shoot it off the glass, they're still worth 2. Or if you step behind 3-point line, they're worth 3, right?
Right. No, that's exactly right, Dave. Come on. But hey, that dunk against Utah, that was my freshman year, and I remember that play. Every time I see that play, I'm lucky I didn't land right on my head, because that guy was coming right from behind me, and I didn't really know how to dunk yet. I was only 18, 19 years old, so I was lucky it went in.
Well, it did go in. Hey, when you hit that shot to put yourself past your friend Jimmer, atop BYU's record books for scoring, how'd that feel?
I mean, incredible. It was something, one of those things that like you never set out on your college career to accomplish something like that, and it just kind of slowly happened. I heard rumblings my senior year that I was close and within striking distance, and I had a bad ankle injury right in the middle of my senior year. And so there was a lot of unknowns. I didn't know if it would be possible. And then I came back and kept scoring. I was like, maybe we'll get there. But it was never a goal. Like I was trying to just help the team. And I was fortunate enough to have a role on each of my teams where I needed to score, and they were calling plays for me, and Terry Nashif was, in my face, trying to get me to shoot more. And, all those things were a blessing that kind of worked together to allow something special like that to happen,
Do you remember the shot? Do you remember that one when you passed Jimmer?
I do. Yeah. It was a backdoor play. I threw it into, I think it was Ryan Andrus, who passed it to me, and I had the option to come off a little elbow screen or go back door, based on how they were playing me, and they overplayed it, and Ryan threw a good pass.
When you were back your senior year, everybody knew that the offense was built around you. So we're covering those games, of course. Dave and I are covering those games, and we're like, can he go out and get 20 tonight? Because they're doubling him all over the floor. They're helping off of everybody else on him. What's that like to be that marked of a guy? Because I feel like Alex Barcelo was in the same situation last year. They so depended on him to score that they're just trying to take him out of the game. They were doing that to you your whole senior season, but somehow you figured out a way to score and to carry the scoring load for the team. What was that like?
Yeah, very, very challenging. You knew you had a target on your chest every single night. But again, I'll give a lot of credit to Terry Nashif. I've talked to some people about this. I mean, it seemed like he was always one step ahead of the way teams were going to play me, and he'd throw in some wrinkles right at the right time. to help me get going, help me get in the rhythm of the game. But also, I mean, I tried really hard to, not be a dominant, have to have the ball in my hands all the time scorer. Like I tried to score in lots of ways. I mean, I shot a ton of free throws at BYU, and tried to run hard in transition, tried to get easy buckets in transition, tried to be a good offensive rebounder. I tried to score in lots of different ways besides having to, have the ball in my hands so defenses could key on me. I tried to just let the game come to me, play hard, and let the scoring kind of take care of itself, find other ways to be involved in the offense.
I remember we were in Vegas for the Vegas Bowl. 2009, you were in Vegas. BYU was playing Nevada. I think it was at the Orleans or Mandalay Bay. And of course, everyone was scoring, but you as a freshman, I think you had 20. I think it was your first 20-point game. You were hitting shots all over the place, and they were too worried about Jimmer's over here and this guy. Who's this kid? And that was the first time we saw you really light it up since your high school days. And then when you got back from your mission, you had that freshman year one where you got a lot of points to start. Your foundation was already set as a scorer. But I remember that Vegas game, and I think it was a wild game, like 98, 96 or something.
Yeah, the high-scoring game, yeah.
So you got that going for you.
Yeah, I remember that game very vividly. Fun tournament. And, playing alongside Jimmer, I mean, I had to get creative. I had to find other ways to get involved because he was going to take a lot of shots and for good reason, right?
Yeah.
But I had to find a way to contribute. And so, but there were definitely games when he had 2 or 3 guys on him. And so I was getting wide open shots. And so, I remember a couple of times that year we went down to San Diego State and won there my freshman year. Kawhi Leonard, all those guys. And that was another game where things just opened up and they were keying on him, and I got open looks. And so that's always nice when they start keying on a guy and you're ready to go and chomping at the bit to get some shots up. So
I had actually broadcast that game that he's talking about down in VA Haws that year. When you were a youngin' and Jimmer was going off. That was a fun year to be a freshman. It's funny when you were the guy and everybody was relying on you to score. You remember when Jimmer was the guy because and how do teams, when you've got somebody like that, sometimes you look at a team, you're like, look at everybody's just standing around. They're just watching Jimmer, like his own teammates. They're just watching Jimmer. Yet I feel like that team did a great job of not standing around and watch Jimmer and moving. How do you get that mentality? Like, we got a great scorer, but we all have to contribute and keep moving because when they shut him down, I got to be ready. That's not an easy mindset to have as a basketball team when you have somebody that's that dominating as a scorer, right?
Yeah, that team was so talented. Like looking back, I didn't even realize like how many awesome pieces we had around. And it was just the culture that was built when I got there. I mean, it was really competitive. We got after each other every day. Guys were, open gyms were very, very competitive. And it was led by guys like Jackson Emery, right? Noah Hartsock brought it every day. Jonathan Tavernari was bringing it, talking trash. Like
I can see that.
From the moment I got on campus, it was competitive. Charles Abuo pushed me every single day. I didn't know if I was going to play because we had so many guards on that team that could play. Mike Lloyd Jr. and Lamont Morgan, and everyone wanted to win. That was the biggest thing. It was all about winning and contributing. And so, that mindset and culture right from the beginning, in spring basketball and the whole summer, I felt those things and I was like, man, I gotta get up extra shots. I gotta be ready for when my numbers called. And, fortunately I was able to work my way into the lineup and have a big role, but it didn't come easy. And, guys were getting after each other and it was ultra competitive in practice, which, made it that much more, I guess, freeing in the game to where if one guy was getting keyed on, the next guy stepped up and was ready.
Tyler Haws on the Wise Guys tonight, BYU TV basketball analyst and the all-time leading scorer in program history. We like people to be honest on this show, so I'm going to ask you this next question, and we expect a full honest answer, don't we, Blaine?
Always.
Always.
When has Tyler ever not just told us
I know,
the
but
truth?
I just wanted to put it out there.
Tyler always speaks truth. Always speaks truth.
So you and Jimmer, you shoot your way past Danny Ainge, who's got his jersey up there, and he comes to the games and he talks to us, and we were talking to him about stuff the other day, and of course he didn't have the three-point line, and you guys do. So do you guys feel bad, kind of, that you blew right past him and relegated him to third when he did not have the three-point line?
No, I do not feel bad for Dan. Not at all. No, for sure. He can make every excuse there is. It is what it is, Danny. I'm sorry.
All right, here's another question about so basketball has been played at BYU since 1902. And here we got you and Jimmer as teammates, and in the very same era, 1 and 2 in scoring in school history. I mean, there have been a ton of players that have come through. And, Kreshmer Chosic, and then you go, well, 15 years later, such and such did something. But for the two of you guys to go 1-2 all-time in scoring in such a short period of time, I mean, how unique does that feel?
No, it's very unique. I mean, not many programs, I think, have something like that happen. And I mean, if Jimmer would have had, his junior and senior year, his freshman and sophomore year, I mean, I think he would have had close to 4,000 points. I mean, the work that he did in that his junior and senior season was just like unbelievable. I mean, his scoring came in huge buckets, right? And what he did his senior year, very, very hard to match what he did that senior year and some of the games that he had. And like my game was not that at all. It was, there were lots of games where I was silent, but, found a way to score 20 points. That was kind of my game. I had a few breakout games, but my scoring was just consistent and a little more subtle than Jimmer knocking down 40-footers, right? But really, really special. I mean, I was just fortunate enough to play alongside some really good guys my freshman year, and then I went on my mission and came back, and I knew the drill and knew what I needed to do, knew the work that I needed to put in. And it was the culture that those guys had built, and had an awesome next 3 years after that.
Tyler's way underselling, by the way. And this is what we love about Tyler. He's unbelievably humble, but you don't become the all-time leading scorer unless you're really, really special. And as much as teams were doubling Jimmer, his junior and senior year, they were doubling Tyler his junior and senior year.
They're fouling and hacking you and trying to wear you out.
And I'll tell you that one of the great things about Tyler is he played on attack. And he would play through contact, and he would get to the free throw line. And when Tyler got to the free throw line, it was like, it's like, yeah, he's making it. Tyler's going to make it. He was just going to make a free throw. So your number one in program history was 724 free throws, Tyler, which is also an amazing feat. You hold the record still for 50 consecutive free throws made. First of all, what mindset does it take to be that good at shooting free throws? And then I want to know if you remember the first one you missed. What happened when you got to 51? Like, what happened with that? Why wasn't it 100? Because I thought you would make 100 in a row.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, this sounds silly, but it goes back to being in the gym by yourself, getting the reps in, right? I tried to shoot 100 free throws every day when I was there after my workout, or, spaced out during my workout. And so, it just became just repetition, muscle memory, and got to the point where, all you're doing is counting a few misses every 100, right? And really surprised when you do miss. But yeah, I mean, that work I can remember being a fifth or sixth grader and keeping track of my free throws and making, 65, 70, 73. And just slowly I got better and better, grew into my body. And, my goal was 90 by the time I was, in later in high school. But just kind of another one of those things that just kind of happened. And my freshman year, I went on, a big streak. I made 49, and then I went on my mission. And it's funny, I was thinking about this today, but my first interview when I got back from my mission was Dave.
Oh, no.
Dave interviewed me, and my wife gives me such a hard time. We still watch it every now and again. I have such a thick accent. Like I couldn't speak English. It was weird. But you asked me about my free throw streak, and it was like, hey, I just got to make my next one. And I made one more my sophomore year, and then I missed the next one. So,
Dave, it was because he gave you bad karma.
I don't know
That's
about
what
that.
it is.
was Dave's fault.
He asked you about it.
Who did you miss? Who did you miss against? What happened?
It was one of the first games. I can't remember.
So it was 49, and it held over for 2 years while you were gone. And then you hit 50,
and then he missed one. And then he went on another streak. So here, I want to take us back to what you just said, because I want everybody to hear that. Am I wrong in interpreting what you said? From the time you were either in 5th or 6th grade, you got up 100 free throws every day from that point through college.
Yeah. There were days.
He's saying yes.
There were some days I missed, and obviously during the year is a little bit different. But yeah, when I was in my workout plan, I would always shoot 100. Yeah.
And that's not to mention the number of jump shots you got up from all over the floor in a particular workout. But you made sure, because I don't think people understand the level of commitment it takes, whether it's football, basketball, to play at that level and to be an all-time leading scorer. For you, it started in 5th or 6th grade, and you're getting shots up every day during workout time. And you're mastering your craft all the way up through, and your goal in high school was 90 of 100 in that workout. And you'd get 90 of 100 or more all the way through college, right?
Yeah. My record, and there were some mornings where I was on a roll and just making a lot, and I'd see how many I could make. And one morning I made 149 in a row.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
But I mean, really, it's getting reps up, just being in the gym and being disciplined. And, you get to the point where if you have a rebounder, you can knock that out in 15 or 20 minutes. But it's just being disciplined to shoot them, right? Lots of kids, I think, especially nowadays, go and they're working on moves that are not applicable to what they're going to do, right? And for me, it was always just putting in a body of work to where when I got on the court, I knew I could play confident and play free. And because I knew I had put in all the time. No one had worked harder than me. And so I prided myself on just the body of work that I put in. Kind of bouncing off of that, before my senior year, I sat down with Coach Pope. He was an assistant while I was there, and he helped me put together a shooting workout that was the toughest shooting workout I had ever done. And it took me 2 hours to get through. And there were mornings that it was painful to be in the gym, knowing what I had to do and get done in those 2 hours. But it's just being disciplined to get up and get moving. And no matter how your body feels, you were still going to put in the work. And I think those are the pieces that help me be successful.
Couple more questions with Tyler Haws tonight on the Wise Guys. You're also number one in school history in minutes played, 4,427. So you were in the game a lot, managed to stay in there, tied for 9th with 138 steals. So those who said you only scored and didn't play defense, that supports that notion. Congratulations. But in a free throw shooting contest between you and, say, Jim or Fredette, who wins? Let's say you're shooting 30. Who wins?
It'd be close, no doubt.
And
You'll beat him in free throws, though, right? I took Dave asked me this earlier. I'm like, I'm taking Tyler on free throws.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do have a better percentage than Jimmer.
So is that a yes? You take him at the line? Now, when we get him on the show, we'll ask him about maybe the three-point line.
So if Jimmer comes, like, if we just put 5 racks of balls, I'll staggered along the three-point line, I'm like, it would still be close, but I might take Jimmer in that. But I'm absolutely taking you on the free throw line. Am I wrong in those two choices?
No, I mean the mid range and the free throw line area. That's my bread and butter right there.
All right, so that's a yes. That's a yes.
I'll own that, Dave.
You're better than Jimmer on that one.
Yep.
All right, now remove Jimmer and add your brother TJ and your dad Marty into that free throw shooting contest. Who wins that?
Oh, yeah, me, no doubt.
Really?
I love that.
No hesitation when it came to family. Notice with Jimmer, he was kind of like, I don't know if I want to make Jimmer mad.
Right.
Dad and brother, forget it. We'll just go right for the.
Yep. No, he's got those guys, no problem. So what was TJ's greatest skill?
Yeah, Tej, I think one of his greatest strengths was always his confidence. From the moment he could pick up a ball, I mean, I'm 4.5 years older than Tej. And so, he was always the little dude running around acting like he belonged, right? 6th, 7th grade, we started to play on some competitive teams, and Tej was in 1st or 2nd grade and not afraid to jump in and practice and, got used to playing with older kids, and he was just always felt like he belonged and super confident. And I think that carried him through his whole career. But our games are so different. Tej is a lot better. I mean, I'll give him this. He's a lot better ball handler than me and a lot smoother with the ball. More comfortable in ball screen situations, and I mean had some very, very special games his senior year, just in the ball screen, just making good decisions. And but I would say his confidence for sure.
That's awesome. Here's the funny thing, because we talk to coaches at the shoot arounds, to opposing coaches, and when we used to talk to them about you, they'd be like, dude is just relentless. Like, he just wears you down. Like, he's going to run you off 1,000,000 screens and catch and shoot, and he's going to get to the free throw. He's going to wear you down. He's just relentless. That's what they would say about you, which is a great compliment, right? And then when we talked to him about TJ, they would say, we cannot stay in front of that guy. Can't stay in front of him. And it drives us nuts because he's breaking our defense down with the ball in his hand, and now we're in rotations, and he's finding the guy or he's scoring, and no matter what we do, nobody on our team can stay in front of him, which is really a cool thing too. Very different games, both unbelievably successful, and what a great family tradition you guys have here with your dad as well. Your dad played back when I was around, and people couldn't get in front of him because he was so blazingly fast with the ball in his hands. So fun family traditions, right?
No, it's awesome. Thanks for saying all that. We grew up just in a basketball house. My grandpa too, from a very young age was, so involved with games and practices, and hey, Ty, you get 20 rebounds today. I've got a $20 bill for you. Stuff like that.
Nice.
I like that.
We just grew up loving the game, and fortunate to really have my dad around. My dad had just a wealth of knowledge that really helped Tej and I grow into our bodies and our game, and a lot of our success is owed to him. Yeah.
Last question before Blaine hits you up with 5 quick ones. The current Cougars, 3-1. They're down there in the Bahamas. Play USC tomorrow afternoon in the battle for Atlantis, and either Tennessee or Butler on Thursday, and then they'll get a 3rd game on Friday. What do you make of this group, and how different are they going to be from the group we see, say, mid-February?
Yeah, this group is really interesting. I think they're working through some growing pains right now. They're trying to play fast, but obviously with that comes a different style of game, lots of turnovers. I mean, their decision making hasn't been what it needs to be, but they have some really talented pieces. We've seen some. I mean, listen, you don't go into Haws Arena and go up 6 with 5 minutes left if you're not a good team. I mean, they're very capable of putting together a great season. I feel like they've kind of played to the level of their competition, right? In each of these games so far. But as long as they keep getting better and keep growing, and the leaders on the team continue to grow into their roles, like I think Rudy Williams needs to play a little bit better, and need to see some more out of him. He needs to develop into a better role. But we've seen great things out of Spencer Johnson, and Gideon George is coming along. Atiki's been awesome so far. We've seen good things out of Foose. I don't mean to harp on only Rudy. We've seen good things out of Rudy too. Love his pace and how fast he's trying to play. Like, that's something in my mind that I feel like has been, I've missed that the last couple of years, just because personnel, they played a slower pace. Yeah. And we always played super fast, get the ball out, race it up. If you have a good look, let it fly. And so I think, to answer your question, like, come February, I think we're going to see a much more seasoned team that takes care of the ball and understands, what's a good shot, what's not a good shot, when the right time to attack is. I feel like there's sometimes we've seen so far where guys are trying to force things one-on-one too much. The ball swung around a little bit, and they're trying to establish themselves and find their rhythm and find their role on the team. But I think all of those kinks will be worked out, and hopefully they can put together a good year.
A question for you on the turnovers, Tyler. So, we've always had kind of 12 as a benchmark. Keep 12 and under, and you're in pretty good company nationally. Most would agree with that. I know San Diego State, like Dutch, he's a good friend of mine. He just likes them to have 12 or under. That's always their goal. Is that too much to ask when they're trying to play at this pace? Is there, should we be maybe expecting 15 when they get this thing dialed? Like, what's a good number for a goal for turnovers? Because this team's been 20 plus consistently, and we know that's too much.
Yeah. No, I would say 12 is a good goal. I mean, really, most teams are shooting for 10 and under, right? But if you can stay under 12, and there's some passes and some drives that I can live with. I'm like, hey, he's being aggressive there. He's trying to make something happen. We'll live with it. But yeah, there's been some silly passes that, just some bad decisions that they've got to work through and figure out. You got to figure out how to play fast. And, I say that tongue in cheek because for sure there were some games when I was there where we had 20 plus turnovers. But it's part of it sometimes, but it's hard to win against good teams when you turn it over that much.
Right.
And especially when teams want to slow it down too. You get into conference, Gonzaga and St. Mary's, they will slow it down on you. And so, yeah, you got to pick your moments to play fast and get out in transition. But you also have to know when, okay, they're back. We're not going to get something. Let's get into our motion offense, right?
So 12 is the number. We're going to go 12.
We're going to hold the guys to 12. All right, 5 quick questions. We'll let you get back to your family. We sure appreciate you being with us on the Wise Guys, and of course you're with us all season long on BYU TV, and we have a good time.
Yep, game
day. You ready?
With,
these are
Jeremy
the most important 5 answers of the night.
That's right, and you can't even think about it. You just got to answer them fast. That's how it goes.
All right.
So, favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie is Rudy.
That's our second Rudy of the night.
Do you know that? Yeah, Ben Cahoon, all-time leading receiver in CFL history. Rudy's his favorite.
Wow.
So,
hey,
former BYU wide receiver. Favorite band or singer?
Favorite band or singer? I love REO Speedwagon.
Man,
It's old school right there.
Early 80s.
Tyler's like old school guy.
You don't need to tell us what era. We all know REO Speedwagon.
Any longer,
Those guys are.
yet I'm still
Those are
afraid
classic.
to let
I
it
saw them
go.
in concert a couple times, and they're even in these later years, they're just so entertaining and fun.
They still.
great.
You have sometimes bands when they get older, like the voices aren't quite as good. Oh no, REO Speedwagon. If you go listen to them right now, they sound just like they did.
Kevin
in the 80s.
Cronin can still get it
They
done.
can still get
I
it
know.
done. And maybe
Excellent
they didn't do as
choice.
Much, they maybe didn't do as many drugs as some of the other bands in the 80s, and that's why they can still do it.
I think so. Hopefully that's the case.
Okay, favorite breakfast cereal.
Favorite breakfast cereal is probably Bunches of Oats right now.
Honey Bunches of Oats?
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Okay,
I'm going to sit down and have a bowl of cereal. That's what it is.
And see, that's okay because just Bunches of Oats is no good but the Honey Bunches of Oats are actually like dipped in sugar honey, which is
bunches of oats. That's the way you feed a horse.
Yeah. So Honey
But
Bunches
honey
of Oats.
bunches of oats, that's different.
Just so you know, we mock anybody that doesn't even eat a sugar-coated cereal on this show. So
It's
because
part of who we are.
Dave likes Captain Crunch, not with Crunch Berries, just plain old
Straight.
Captain
I
Crunch,
like them straight.
which they take those little crunch things and they dip them completely in sugar. So
Favorite BYU moment?
You know, I've got two.
okay,
Can I say two?
Yeah, give us both.
You
Yeah.
say two.
One was my senior year. We won at Gonzaga on their senior night. That was a very special moment.
What were they ranked? What were they ranked at the time?
I think they were.
Were they
I want to
two?
say they were top 5.
2 or 3, maybe?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just a huge win.
They hate
Finally got over the
BYU
hump.
because we're the only ones that beat them at their place.
That's
They
right.
hate that.
Yeah. But my freshman year, there were a couple of moments that were, looking back, were just really special with Coach Rose because he, I didn't even know that if he was going to be able to coach that year because he had just found out he had cancer. And, we had a moment during the coaches versus cancer game against Utah, wore pink. There was that locker room after was very special. But beating Florida in the first round was another moment where there was a lot leading up to that and a lot of emotion for Coach. The team meeting the night before was very emotional, like on the verge of tears, like, we can do this thing and we deserve this. And it was just really, really cool to be a part of when you pour all of your heart and emotion into your team and winning. And, it was just really cool.
And there's nobody tougher than Coach Rose that we know.
No, we talked to him the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, favorite lesson you learned from your dad?
Number 5.
Favorite lesson?
You thought these were going to be easy. These aren't just bubblegum questions. These are.
Yeah, they making me think. Probably just consistent hard work. He just taught me to be disciplined and never pushed me to, was never yanking me out of bed to get to the gym, but instilled in me some discipline. And his rule was, hey, I'll come rebound for you, but you've got to get me up. So I had to get him up from a young age, and it instilled a good work ethic in me. So I'll take that.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
The great Tyler Haws, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. We will see you on BYUtv next Tuesday as the Cougars go up to Vivint Arena.
Oh yeah,
That'll be fun.
You're going to be in studio in Provo, right?
Yeah, I think we'll be in studio.
But you live in Salt Lake.
No, I live in Lehigh.
Oh, I knew you were north.
Right
I was
in
thinking
between.
you were over the point. So you're just in Lehigh. Okay, so we'll pass by your house and we'll drive to Vivint, and then you can come down here closer to where we live.
There we go.
Hey, you're doing a great job. We're happy to be colleagues with you and friends, and we sure thank you for your time. And say hi to your wife and kids, and we'll see you next week.
I will. No, hey, thanks so much for having me on. Look up to both of you guys. You guys are legends in the broadcasting industry. So it's an honor for me to work alongside you. And yeah, congrats on all you're doing on the show. And really, it's a pleasure to be on. Thanks so much for having me.
We're going to extend this interview now, so go ahead and keep saying good things. Now we're going to wrap it up. Okay.
Tyler, you're the best. We love being around you. Your energy is awesome. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Sounds good, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
Tyler.
the great Tyler Haws. Number one scorer. Of all the scorers at BYU, no one scored more points than Tyler Haws. Isn't that,
I mean, think
that's
about
awesome.
the players that have been through this program. That's the guy.